Hey guys, it's Monique, and I'm back for another video. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about the power of persuasion. So, if you want to know more about the power of persuasion and how important it is in the legal profession and in life in general, then definitely keep watching. So, most of us learned how to be persuasive at a very young age. If we wanted something from our parents, we knew the exact words to say to get what we wanted. We wanted extra dessert, or we wanted to go outside and play longer. We wanted to go to a friend's house. We wanted to get out of cleaning our room, or whatever the case may be. We learned how to be persuasive. It's not something that you study in a case book. It's literally something you learn just from experiences in life, and you learn it at a very young age. Now, when you're young, you don't think too much about it. You do it to get what you want, right? But what happens when you get older and it literally is a component of your job? And that's really what we're going to be talking about today, how persuasion is extremely important in the legal profession, especially if you're planning on becoming a litigator like myself. And so we're going to go over just a few things that really help an individual with gaining confidence and being persuasive. So obviously, the most important part of being persuasive, the number one thing you have to have in being persuasive is facts. You have to have facts. You have to know what you're talking about. There's no way you are going to come across as believable, or in other words, persuasive, if your facts are inaccurate. If you don't know what you're talking about, if you're making something up. Because even if a person believes it at first, at some point they're going to start asking questions because it doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. So you want to make sure you have all of the facts. And you want to make sure you present the facts in a chronological order if possible. Presenting facts makes you come across as a person who knows what they're talking about. Presenting concrete facts, things you actually witnessed or saw or received from a reliable source that's able to back up what you're saying, makes you come across as a person who takes whatever you're trying to be persuasive about seriously. And it also helps you come across as an intelligent person. Yes, people will see you as more intelligent by demonstrating concrete, tangible facts that occurred to help support whatever position, whatever case you're trying to make. So first things first is present facts, know what you're talking about. Now, that's only one component of being persuasive. I see it all the time. There are lawyers who have all the facts. They have all the facts on their side, but they still lose at trial. Why do they lose at trial when they have all the facts on their side? Wouldn't that be something the jury would find admirable, would find respectable, would find believable? Because this person has all the facts and they presented it in a way that makes sense? You would think. But that's not necessarily the case. The second component, and arguably more important than the first component, is how you present those facts. It's all about the presentation. And again, this is something we've learned early on. I'm not telling you guys anything that you already don't know. If anything, this is more of like a refresher. Presentation is everything. Think about when you went to your favorite restaurant and you ordered your favorite meal. You can't tell me that you also weren't impressed by the meal looking a certain type of way prior to tasting it. Or think about the pair of shoes that you really wanted to get. Yeah, you may have wanted to get them because of the brand name on them, but you also were impressed by the presentation. So in life, just in general, we all take presentation into consideration, whether we're talking about dating somebody, whether we're talking about the type of job we want to take, whatever the case may be, presentation is extremely important. And so it's no less important when you're trying to be persuasive about something. You want to make sure you're presenting the information with the correct tone, with the right amount of empathy, if necessary, the right amount of sensitivity. Whatever you're trying to present, you have to make sure that your demeanor follows. Okay? So if you're trying to obtain empathy from a group of people, and I'm not even just talking about in the legal field, I'm talking about in general. If you're trying to gain empathy, you don't want to come across as assertive. That's not going to gain you empathy. You want to come across as humble and a little bit more emotional. Like, that's going to really show the person you're trying to portray this to that this is serious, as opposed to somebody who's coming across as aggressive or just mean because they want to get their point across. To me, that makes you come across as somebody who doesn't know how to control their emotions and wants to bully somebody into believing whatever they're trying to portray. And that's not what you want to do. And I think that's where people get it wrong when it comes to presentation. They don't know how to channel into, I don't want to say character, but that character. A lot of times we are acting when it comes to litigating and persuasion. We are channeling in something that's going to pull out whatever it is we're trying to pull out of people we either know or do not know. So in order to do that, you have to figure out what the issue is and then how you're going to portray or get that issue across to this person or these group of people. And that could be really difficult if you don't know the people. You know, it's one thing if you know the person and what pushes their buttons or what gets them going. That's different, you know. Like if it's a parent and you know what gets your parent to say yes or no to something, you know, or a friend or a significant other, a teacher, a boss, whatever. But when you're going into a courtroom, and let's say you're dealing with a jury of 12 people that you've never met, never seen before, you don't know anything about them, that's really hard. That's really hard to be persuasive, even if you have a good case with a lot of good facts. Because there's always going to be somebody that's sitting down in that seat that thinks differently than you do. So you might think one thing and think that that's going to come across in a way that allows everybody to feel the way you feel. But that's not necessarily the case. And so you've got to be able to channel in on what really moves people in general. And that takes time. It takes skill and practice. But you can do it just by practicing simple, everyday exercises. You can practice that when talking to a friend, when talking to a parent, when talking to somebody off the street that you don't know. Just practice. Really, that's what's going to get you good at doing anything is practice. And so I would encourage you guys to practice as much as possible and being persuasive and being able to present the facts in chronological order and present them in a way that's going to depict what you're trying to get across. And I would even challenge you to do that with facts that maybe aren't as favorable. And try to practice on somebody, try to practice on persuading somebody of something that not contain concrete facts. Try to persuade somebody of something solely based off of circumstantial evidence. I would say that's the number one issue I see with a lot of people in the legal profession and outside the legal profession. But more so outside the legal profession, because I think people in the legal profession really understand that you can win a case or you can persuade a person of something even if you don't have concrete evidence. Now, obviously, it's better if you have evidence, but we all know that in life, we don't always have concrete facts or evidence because we weren't there, right? There are times where we're presented with information and it's our job to relay that information to someone else. And when it comes to the legal profession, that happens I would say 95% of the time. More than 95% of the time, 99% of the time, even 100% of the time. I would go so far as saying 100% of the time, because we weren't there. And we're given this case, we're given these facts by our clients, and then told to get the other side to believe, or persuade the other side to believe what we're saying is true, or persuade a jury or a judge, whatever the case may be, however far the case gets. And so I want to tell you guys, you can be persuasive solely based off circumstantial evidence. Most cases are won or are tried solely based off of circumstantial evidence, because again, we were not there. Even if we have witnesses who were there, we don't know all of the surrounding circumstances that went into them formulating their conclusion or their opinion, whatever the case may be. If somebody said they saw something, but then we later find out that they don't have the best vision, then we're going off of circumstantial evidence, because we don't know for a fact that they saw what they said they saw, right? Because it's just been proven that their vision's bad. And so you got to be able to work with what you have. Like I said, if you have concrete facts, great. If you don't, use that circumstantial evidence. And that's where persuasion comes in. Because with circumstantial evidence, you're basically telling opposing side, the judge, a jury, that, hey, even though I wasn't there, this is what happened. And you're saying it with confidence. And you're saying this is what happened because this is the only logical thing that could have happened with these set of facts. And this is why the outcome is whatever it is. And so it goes back to presentation. It goes back to confidence. It goes back to doing your homework and doing your research. Even though you don't have those facts, you need to dig into what you do have. Dig into what you do have and then build off of that. Because you're going to have something that you can build off of. And then you just analyze what you have and develop a theory. That's all you're doing. And I know it sounds easier than what it really is. It actually is a difficult task, but practice will make, I won't say perfect, because some people have it and some people don't. I'm just being completely honest, but everybody can do it. Practice makes good. And good, a lot of times, is where you need to be to win a trial, to get what you need the opposing side to do for you. And so you really want to practice. You really want to use what you do have and build off of that. You want to go in with confidence because you know this case. You know what you have and you know what you don't have. And you know that you're going to use what you have to your advantage. And you're going to develop a theory and you're going to get these people to believe what you're saying. That's all you're doing with persuasion. But so many people get so nervous. They feel like they can't do it if they don't have concrete facts. They don't know how to channel into their different emotions. And their demeanor is very just uptight and aggressive and assertive. And that's not how you want to be. You have to change. You gotta loosen up a little bit. And you have to realize that you're going into acting mode when you're trying to persuade anybody of anything outside of the legal profession. You're going into acting mode. You're channeling in something out of you that you know is going to touch the heartstrings of somebody else to get what you want. And you're doing the same thing when it comes to practicing law and negotiating deals. I don't even care if you're not in a courtroom. You're doing that when you're negotiating deals with the opposing counsel to get what your client wants to get. You're doing that when you're talking to your insurance carrier to get them what you need to get the case settled. You're doing that with you're doing that every day in any type of case you're dealing with. You're doing it every day in life in general, no matter what your profession is. So you really want to think about, what do I have to use? Do I have concrete facts? Okay, if you don't have concrete facts, what else do I have? I have this. Like, you're going to have something that you can build off of. I don't know what that something is, but you're going to have something you could build off of. And use that to your advantage. And start developing theories based on what you do have. And go in there confident, wherever it is you're going, and present that to the other side. 90% of everything we do in the real world is faking it until we make it. Really, that's all it is. Nobody has all the answers. Nobody's an expert at everything. Seriously, we're not. None of us are. Nobody's perfect. Somebody might be great at one thing but not good at another. But guess what? They got to fake it till they make it if they have to deal with whatever it is they're a little bit weaker at. If they're put in a scenario where they're that's put in the forefront of their life. And so you just have to have confidence. You have to be able to channel those emotions, whatever type of emotions you need to portray what you need to get across, and use what you have. That's literally all you're doing. And I feel like if more people did that, they'd be more successful, not only with their legal professions, but in life in general. So I hope that video was helpful, guys. That was just a quick rundown of the power of persuasion and what you can do to be persuasive. Persuasion is so important because that ultimately, like I said in the beginning, is what gets you from point A to point B with whatever it is you want to do, want to be, want in life. That's what you use to get there, is your gift of gab and persuasion. And so really practice those skills. Practice on scenarios where you don't have all the facts, where you're going off of circumstantial evidence. And if you get good at doing that with circumstantial evidence without concrete facts, you will slowly but surely become an expert and being a persuader in general. So I hope that was helpful. And if you have any questions, you know what to do. I will see you guys, if not, in the next video. Bye, guys.